Avrohom Eisen, b'shem Irgun Shir Torah, Moshes Boston. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's shir, all the men here in the main shul, the women upstairs and downstairs, everyone tuning in and listening through the telephone and the live streaming. Avrohom Eisen. I'd like to give a big yasher koach to Mr. and Mrs. Ari Parnas for sponsoring tonight's shir. Also, I'd like to give a big yasher koach to David Weiss, CPA, 718-871-8502 for his support towards tonight's shir. Both say, as I've mentioned in the past, Irgun Shir Torah relies on the support of the Tzibur to bring the shirim to the community. Call Irgun Shir Torah at 718-851-8651 or email tapecenter@yeshivanet.com to have the great schus of sponsoring one of the shiurim. I have the schus of Ahavas Yisroel Derabim. Tonight we have the cover to have with us Rav Avrohom Eisen, Shlita Rav Khal Pozna, speak on the topic of successful personal relationships. It's my cover to call on the Pozna Rav for tonight's Rosh.
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. First and foremost, I'd like to pay tribute to Irgun Shir Torah for giving me the opportunity to be mashmiya the Dvar Hashem, and a special thanks to my dear friend Ari Parnas for sponsoring the shir tonight. Mi shelo nivne beis hamikdash b'yomav, Chazal tell us ki lo nichrav b'yomav. If the Beis Mikdash is not built in somebody's generation, it's as if it would be destroyed. Destroying is one thing, and building, rebuilding is something else. So how do you understand if it's not built or rebuilt, it's as if it would be chara? Explains the Sfas Emes, and he says, if in a generation that the Beis HaMikdash does not get rebuilt, if the Beis HaMikdash would have been standing today, would have been Nechrav, Rachmana litzlan. Not only it wasn't built, if the Beis HaMikdash would be standing today, says the Sfas Emes, it would be Nichrav today. Why was the Beis HaMikdash Charav? Because of Sinas Chinam. Hatred. How could we misaken the oven of Sinas Chinam? Is Ahavas Chinam. There's a pasuk in Parshas Kedoshim, Kapitel Yutes, Pasuk Yudches. Lo yisikoim v'lo yisitoy. Should not take nekama, should not be noiter, as b'nei amecha, any sinner. V'ahavto l'reacha kamoicha, you should love your fellow Jew like yourself. Ani Hashem, I am God. We all know the story in Masechta Shabbos with the ger, the potential convert, but I don't want to go to that story. I want to go straight to the Targum. I want to cut some time. I want to save time for other stuff. Says the Targum, Lo yisikoim v'lo yisita devav l'vnei amach. Poshe pshat, no nekama, no netira. V'ahavto l'reyacha kamoicha ani Hashem. What does that mean? Says the Yonis ben Uziel, V'sirachmei lechavroch, you should love your friend. Demonan sonerlei lo sabed le anu Hashem. This is what the Basila told the ger. Whatever is hated to you, don't do it to your friend. Lo sabed le anu Hashem. So this is how the Targum Yonis ben Uziel explains this pasuk. There's a chinuch that explains this mitzvah, and it says, "V'afto l'racha kamoicha, v'omru Chazal, de'aloch soni lechavrech lo yisayvet." Whatever is hated to you, don't do to your friend. Omer Bakiva, ze klal godol ba'Torah. What does it mean klal godol ba'Torah? Koloima, Sheharbe mitzvahs shebaTorah tluyas bekach. A lot of mitzvahs in the Torah depend on this mitzvah. Shehoyet chaveira kenafsha. If you love your friend as yourself, leignav mamoina, you won't steal his mammon. Lo yenu b'mammon, v'lo b'dvarim, you will not torture him, hurt him with anything. Lo yasig gevuloi, v'lo yasig eloi b'shum tzad. V'chein kamo mitzvahs acheves tluyas b'zeh. Says the chinuch, when somebody goes and steals from another Jew, not only is oiver leisignoi, is oiver of one more esse. V'haftarach kamoicha. Mandaloch sani lechaber leisayvet. So whenever you do something besides the halacha leisasi gevul leisoinu ishes amisoy, there's an extra esse that you oiver at that time from v'haftarach kamoicha. So no better time to work on this midah than the beginning of the 3 weeks. There's a Maise, the Biankele, the Psheveske Rebbe, with his father-in-law, Rebbe Yitzchak, was still alive. He used to walk around in shul every morning before davening. In the right hand he had siddur, in the left hand he had a cup of coffee. He used to go around to all the people in the shul and ask them, "Schon gedavend? Darfst du kave? You want a coffee? You want a siddur?" He used to go around to everybody in the shul and ask this question. There was the big tzaddik, Reb Doniel Frisch, the Baal Mekubal from Yerushalayim. He happened to be once in Belgium, and he davened in Pshevesk. And he saw Reb Yankele going around with the coffee and with the siddur, and it bothered him before davening. This is what you do, you walk around with coffee, and this is not before davening. Got to be serious before davening. Reb Yankele came to him and asked him the same question. Did you have a coffee? Do you need a siddur? Said the Biankele, let me ask you a question. Before davening, this is what you do, going around giving coffee. Got to prepare. Achonas, shoyin shov achas. What are you doing now? Biankele told him, the Riyah Kodesh says that before you start davening in the morning, you have to say, Areini mekabel olai, mitzvahs asei shel vo'ahavto lereyacho kamoicha. You think that's a lachash? That's not a lachash. You got to do it. This is what I'm doing when I go around with the coffee. This is l'maise v'hafto lereyacho kamoicha. Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach Zatzal used to take a shower before he was toivel in the mikveh, and when he came out from the mikveh, he toiveled again. They asked him, "Why do you take a shower before the mikveh?" He says, "We have to lereyacho, to make sure that the water doesn't get dirty, so I take a shower before." So they asked him, "Why do you take a shower after the mikveh?" He says, "Kamoicha, I want to be clean too." Kamoicha, he says, "Kamoicha, we have to lereyacho kamoicha." So to love somebody else like yourself is almost impossible. The Ramban asks the question, it's not shaykh. It's hafloga, he says. It's an exaggeration, it's hagzama. So the Ramban says, doesn't say, "Well, I have to es reyacha," like, "I have to es Hashem." It says, "Well, I have to le reyacha." Whatever belongs to your friend, whatever is shaykh to your friend, or to love your friend as yourself is not shaykh. The Kotzker said, by the Maise of the Bes Hillel, of Hillel, when he told the ger, the nochri, mandaloch soni lechaver leisai, why didn't he tell him like the Mashah is positive? Why did he change from what the pasuk says, and change it to mandaloch soni lechaver leisai? Why not go positive? Love your friend, love your fellow neighbor. Says the Kotzker, b'shaz the ger, the nochri came. That time it was still a goy. Before the Giyur. A goy cannot even comprehend, understand, fathom what it means love somebody like yourself. It's not shaykh. He understands man da'aloch soni lechaver lo yisayv. That a goy understands too. So as the Kotzke, before he became a ger, he told him man da'aloch soni lechaver lo yisayv. V'idach. And once you're megayer, Berusha zil gemoy, go learn the real pshat. Says the Kotzke. So the Magen Avraham, Simen Memvov, Sif Kotten Aleph. brings from the Ari HaKadosh. The Sefer Kavonos Arizal is a Magen Avraham. Koidem kol tefillah, before every davening, Yekabel all of mitzvahs asei shavafter le'yacha kamecha. Not only by Shachris. Before every tefillah, a person should be mekabel on himself the mitzvahs asei, the commandment of love your fellow Jew. V'al yidei zeh, and through that, to kubel tefillah b'soich tefillah is called Yisroel. His tefillah will be in his kabel amongst all the tefillahs of the Khal Yisroel. V'yichaven lev kol echad Yisroel kenafshe. So it steht in Magen Avraham b'shem the Arizal. Every morning, when the mist of dew is still damp, it's still wet outside, and the first rays of sun rise from the horizon, it's still dark, it's starting to shine, the Amud HaShachar, people run to shul. We run to shul to daven. And we open up the siddur with a gewaldige Yisrakshis, with excitement. We're going to daven for the Rebbeinu Shalom. We're going to daven Shachris, that the day should start on the right foot. We're starting with a spiritual kesher. We're davening right away. And we hope that this davening will give us energy and koiches to have a beautiful day and everything should go well. It's a lichtige Tag. Before we start, the first phrase, Ma Toivu, what do we say, says the Arizal? Areini mekabe lolai mitzvahs asei shevohavto lereyacho kamoicho. I mekabel on myself the mitzvahs asei of loving another Jew, another Yid. 1 second. Why dafke this mitzvah? We have 630 mitzvahs. Why did the Arizal choose dafke this mitzvah to say every morning or 3 times a day, as the Magen Avraham says, before every tefillah? Why dafke the mitzvahs asei of Ahavas Yisroel? Maybe we should take turns. Every day another mitzvah. Every tefillah 3 times a day. Every tefillah another mitzvah. In 365 days, we have 613. We'll have enough for each day, 3 mitzvahs. We'll have extra. Why dafke this mitzvah? Maybe shesh mitzvahs tmidios. There's a lot of things to be dafke. Why dafke this mitzvah? The answer is, when a person starts davening, when we stand up in the morning, we wake up in the morning, and we're going to shul, we open up the siddur, before we say Matoy V'Alecha Yankev, we're going to be mispalel, that the day should be a good day, Hatzlocha Dike day, Molei Shefa, a happy day. Before we start, before we say anything, we need to press the secret code. We need to make sure to open up the powerful key. We need to have that powerful key. How do we open that door? The Shara Shamayim. How do we open that? Ahavas Yisroel is a deep commitment of our love for every Jew, for every Yid. Because he is a Yid. That's why we have to love him. This is a mitzvah that contains forces and strengths that we cannot imagine. An unbelievable starke mitzvah. And when we open up the day with this tefillah, with this mitzvah, this makes us a special people, a special nation, a special, very special am, amongst other amim in the world. With the Ahavas Yisroel, a person could take the interest of somebody else, of another Jew, before his own interest. A person should breathe not only for himself and live for himself, has to breathe and live for another Yid. Das meint v'ahavto l'reyacha kamoicha. So in Parshas Kedoshim, the Torah defines the mitzvah very concise. Love your friend as yourself. Reyacha kamoicha, as yourself. The same way you worry for yourself, you daige for yourself, you're busy with yourself, you try to better yourself, the same way you got to treat others. Not easy. Easier said than done, but this is what the Torah expects from us. Therefore, the Ariya Kodesh was Megala, revealed to us how important it is to open up the day and start the day and the tefillah with a kriya berura, a very clear call that we love and we worry for every Yid, for every Jew. We are all part of one big mishpacha, one big family. Brothers and sisters, we care for each other. This is what we do when we say, Areini mekabel olai, mitzvahs asei, shevohavto l'reyacho kamoicha. When we daven with Ahavas Yisroel, the tefillah becomes not a private, a personal tefillah. A tefillah that comes from the whole Khal Yisrael, from millions and millions of Yidden in the world. Because if you love all the Yidden, all the tefillahs, all the Yidden daven, become one tefillah. Of course, we cannot compare a tefillah of a minyan of 10 people davening, 10 Yidden davening, to a minyan of millions of Yidden davening at the same time, in the same moment. A tefillah that each single Yid davens for everybody and gets in return that all the Yidden daven for him. All the Yidden in the world davening for my parnasa, for my children, for my children's shidduchim, for refuah, yeshua, whatever I need, the whole Khal Yisroel is davening. Could we imagine what happens in Shemayim when thousands, when millions of Yidden daven for one Yid? Of course Hashem listens. The Rebbeinu Shalom is mekabel the tefillah of so many Yidden, avada and avada. So the revach, the reward, the profit from Ahavas Yisroel, you see right away over here. Because the tefillahs are neskabel right away, l'rachmim u'l'rotzah. And therefore we start the davening in the morning with the Kabbalah of Areini mekabel olai mitzvahs asei shevahavto l'reyacha kamoicha. So when we say those words in the morning, we have to think for a minute and stop. How are we going to be moisif today? What are we going to do today to do more of Ahavas Yisroel? How is this day going to be different than yesterday? What are we going to do today more than what we did yesterday, 2 days ago? Are we going to be smiling to our neighbor more than we smiled yesterday? The Alter from Slabotka never spoke in Rosh Hashanah or Shmuz. 1 year he spoke, and he said, Malchin noch dem schwarzen Elul. He called Elul, he referred to Elul as the black month of Elul. One night, Rosh Hashanah, 1 year he spoke, he said, how are we going to be Zoiche Badin? How can we be Zoiche Badin? He said, you know how? By smiling to another Yid. By saying a nice good morning to another Yid. This is how you Zoiche Badin. It's much easier than we think. Smiling is saying a nice good morning to another Yid. This is how you Zoiche Badin. Caring about another Yid, worrying about another Yid. Not stam saying, people think the Ahavas Yisroel is a mitzvah shebelev. It's a mitzvah, very emotional. We think in our heart. Love has to do with the heart. We love other people with the heart. That is true. But the Torah wants from us maisim. Caring, worrying for somebody else. The same way you worry for yourself, you have to worry for other people. And the more we're going to put into it and implement in the mahalach of our day, we'll do little things, big things, to be nice to another and to see the other person's interest the same way as mine or even more, and help people to fulfill their chaloimes and their fantasies to become reality. This is how we're going to be zoiche to open up the Sharei Shamayim and the Rachmei Shamayim, and to see ayin b'ayin the love of the Boyer Olam to us. I want to share with you a ma'aseh. Was one evening outside of the ICU, in a big hospital in Israel, outside of the ICU. There was a Yid walking around with a very frown face, blurry-eyed. His name was Reb David. He was very disturbed about a friend of his in the ICU, which was, his condition was getting serious day by day, worsening every day. And the doctors didn't give too much hope. And now his matzav became more critical. His head was spinning. He decided, you know what? I'm going to go out to catch a little fresh air. He went out to catch some fresh air. All of a sudden, was walking around, started seeing images in front of his eyes. 25, 30 years ago, when his friend, the Khal, had baby boys, and together they ran to buy the stuff, the food for the Shalom Zachars, and the Kedeshim for the girls, and then by mitzvahs, and how they went together to the chasanas. He saw all this, it was reflecting on all this happening for the last 25, 30 years. How he was dancing with him and rejoicing with him in his simchas. And all of a sudden now, the matzav is so terrible. He spent so many hours, late nights, learning together, schmoozing together, and now, where it's at. He took out a sefer Tillim. That was at night. He took out a Tillim from his pocket. And he started saying Tillim. In the middle of saying Tillim, he started thinking. Sudden, his emotions took over. And he started thinking, am I really sincerely worrying for my friend's health? Am I a real friend? Am I a chaver? Does his health really hurt me in my health as well? Am I mashkia be'emes to see a refuah and Yeshua for my friend? And he was thinking, and the thoughts came back to him, and it was bothering him more and more. And more shilas came up. Did I really worry for his well-being, for his parnassah, while he was gesund and stark? Beyond just the workplace, he was happy there, but did I really worry for him? Did I ever take responsibility? Did I take responsibility to make sure that everything is well by him? His well-being, economically, everything. Did I really look out for him? Were his worries mine? That's what he was thinking. And it didn't give him peace. The machshavas kept coming back and back. Till he brought him to a bold decision. He made a major decision. His compassion, the love for his friend, was nisoyer in him. And he said to himself, Areini mekabel al atzmi, I'm mekabel on myself. Ki be'ezas Hashem, when Hashem is going to help, when we're going to be zoiche to see a nes, a miracle, how my friend is going to be healthy again, I take upon myself, and making sure that his parnassah, his well-being, everything will be my responsibility. I will do everything to better my friend's life. I will make sure he has parnasa, bread on the table, Shabbos, Yontif, Chasen, Simchas, everything is on me. This is what the friend Reb David was thinking and committing to this gewaltige Kabbalah. After making this Kabbalah, he went to sleep, he went to his bed. The next morning he woke up and he started looking after his friend's well-being with hope that the Kabbalah that he made last night will really make a change in his friend's life, his friend's condition. Maybe the Gezeira Ra will disappear. And to his gewaltige Pelle, things started to change. All of a sudden, the doctors became more optimistic. They reported that his condition is slowly getting better. And after advancing more and more, the grace and the big miracle, after a couple of days, he was freed from the ICU. Unbelievable ness. He left from the ICU to a regular room, to a regular floor. After being a couple of weeks in the regular floor, the treatments that they gave him, Baruch Hashem, he was able to accept the treatments. His body was able to take it. And he left from there to a nursing home. And after a couple of weeks, he, Baruch Hashem, came home. The people that saw him walking on the street couldn't believe it. Everybody was saying Tehillim. Everybody knew that his matzav, his condition is very, very serious. There was very little hope for him. And here they see him walking. He became the conversation of every Shabbos table, far, close. Everybody was talking about this gewaltige ness, how this Yid that was so ill, and all of a sudden, walking around ke'echad ha'adam. Nobody knew what happened, what was the cause, what brought the refuah and the Yeshua for this choyle, except for Reb David. He knew. And he was very happy to pay the price. For 30 years, Reb David paid all his bills, paid his rent, made sure that there was Shabbos, Yontiv. The credit card bill every month was paid by him. And when he made chasanas, Reb David signed the checks by the chasanas. And Rebbeinu Shalom repaid him. He became a very, very wealthy person, this Reb David. Very, very rich. And he knew that Hatzlacha that he had nothing to do with him. He knew for sure that it has to do with the achrayas that he took for another Yid, the Ahavas Yisroel that he had and he gave to another Yid. This Maaseh, Reb David himself told over. What could we learn from this Maaseh, from this story? Many times, our heart is torn, ripped, when you see the Yisurim, how a chaver is tortured in the hospital bed, the Chmon al-Islam, and you see he's helpless. And there's nothing you could do to help him. A tragedy happens. Sorrow is koshois. People have so much tsar. Children of the derech. People have Yisurim, with Shidduchim, Panasa, all kinds of situations and troubles. And your heart gets ripped watching your friend. But to what extent do you take the Ahavas Yisroel? Just by being compassionate and having mercy and pity on your friend, that's beautiful. That's not enough. Ahavas Yisroel, true Ahavas Yisroel, sincere love of another Yid means worrying for somebody else. You know why? Because he is you. The Reyacha is Kamoicha. It's no exama. It's not exaggeration. You have to worry for Reyacha Kamoicha Mamish. And if you do that, look what happened. The Yeshua that this Reb David brought for this choile and for the whole mishpacha. I want to share with you a taich from the Heilige Chartikover. David Moshe Chartikover says in sein Sefer Divrei David, there's a chazal that we all know. Kol ha-merachem al habriyos, merachamim olav min hashamayim. Anybody that's merachem on briyos and other people, merachamim olav min hashamayim. What's the pshat? It says the Chartikover like this. A person that has rachamim, mercy, pity on a friend, and he does whatever he could, all the effort possible, and mishtadl for his friend, for the tzlach of his friend, for the well-being, for the panasa, to take away all his worries. You know what happens? Merachmim olav. When you are merachem on somebody else, this brings rachmim on that other person. Merachmim olav min hashamayim. The fact that you are merachem on somebody else brings rachmim on him. How does that work? He explains. Could you imagine what happens in Oilem Esel Yoinim in Shemayim? When a Yid is merachem on another Jew, on a friend Yid, on another Yid, not a brother, not a real sister. We are all brothers, but he's merachem on him like his own real brother, his own sister. The Melitza Yosha say in Shamayim, if a person, a human being, flesh and blood, has so much rachmanas on another Yid, with such mesirus, with such ibegegebenkeit, for another Yid, Khal v'choyme, how much the Melech Malchei HaMelachim has to do for this Yid. Says the Chartikover, Kol merachem al habriyos, merachmim olav. This brings rachmim on the choile, on the nitzrach. It's amazing. It's a fascinating pshat. The way to cause shefa for another person, to bring rachmim on somebody else, has to be channeled through you, through us. V'afto l'reyacho kamoicho, and from you, this brings the rachmim on the choile, on the person that needs the Yeshua. So we need to really work on ourselves to really be Oyev Yisroel. Not just a saying, V'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. Has to become l'maaseh in your daily life. This is what Hashem wants from us. I want to share with you a maaseh that happened a couple of years ago in my shul. I spoke one Kol Nidrei night. I spoke about people to be mevater, to be moichel each other. As we say in Tfilah Zaka, that ben odom lachaveroi is your kippah nish mechaper. Ad she'yiratze es chaveroi. You have to take care of it with your friend, whatever you did. The Boy Shlem says, I could be mevater what you did to me, ben Adam lamokan. What you did ben Adam lachaveira, to Reuven, to Shimon, you have to take care of it with himself. I cannot get involved. You straighten out with Shimon, with Reuven, then I'll be fine. So I spoke, I touched upon, many times it happens, somebody has an apartment, they outgrow it, it's a little too small, they expand, they want to build another floor, and chas v'shalom, I'm not saying it's right, it's 100% not right. You build out, not legal, on the other person's space. Lemaisa, you built. It's wrong what you did. But now, 10 years later, you're not greeting your neighbor, you hate each other, and all the chinuch that you put into your kids, you instill in your kids, you imbue in them maisim toivim, you tell them about derech eretz, and what the Rebbe tells them, and they come home, and Tati and Mommy tell the child, that neighbor don't look in this direction. Terrible people. They built in our space. They took away a little daylight. Terrible. All the chinuch, all the money that you're spending on tuition, on tutoring, private learning, and you, with your own dibur and maise, you're killing your own children. So that's what I spoke about on Kol Nidre night. Little did I know, a day after Yom Kippur, a person comes over to me in shul and says, I want the Rav to know, for 10 years, me and my neighbor did not talk to each other. After the Rav's drasha, Kol Nidre night, I met my neighbor, I rang his bell, and we made up. Baruch Hashem, that's the first part of the story. 6 months down the road, Purim, sitting in my apartment, and the Seder Oilam is that people bring Shalach Manos for the Rav. So that person that came over to me and told me that he apologized and made up with his neighbor, I forgot all about it, to be honest. Tell you, I forgot about the whole Maisa. He asks me, does the Rav remember what the Rav spoke on Yom Kippur? Says no. He reminds me, the Rav spoke about being mevater, being moichel, a neighbor that built out. And he shows me his finger. The neighbors right across the table. They're both sitting by my table at the same time. And they hugged again. And they danced together. And I went in together to dance with them. This is Ahavas Yisroel. V'ahavta l'reyacha kamoicha. I want to share with you another Maisa. In a neighborhood, in Givat Mordechai, in Yerushalayim, in a quiet neighborhood, the Mashgiach from Chevron, the Tzvihesh Palei, lived there. The Mashgiach from Chevron in Yeshiva was very quiet. All of a sudden, the neighbors on the second floor, Baruch Hashem, the Mishpacha, grew. The young babies became adults. They needed more space. So they asked permission from all the neighbors if they could build out. Do construction. And all the neighbors were nice and they gave permission. But as we know, in construction, there's noise, there's dirt, there's garbage, all kinds of issues come with building. So one day the tractor was there, started digging, and all the peace in the building disappeared. The neighbors were not friendly anymore. They couldn't handle the building, the noise, whatever. Some had real complaints. Some had nourisher complaints. Some were real. And some complained that it's starting too early. Some said the kids are afraid of the goyim, of the workers, the dust, the garbage, all kinds of complaints. A couple of months down the road, the neighbor that's building on the second floor sees no more than the Rebbetzin Palei coming up the stairs. Her heart started beating. She knew right away that Rebbetzin Palei is not coming up for no reason. She's come to talk to her about something that's bothering her. And if Rebbetzin Palei will ask me to stop building, I won't have a choice. I will have to stop. Anyways, she looked out from the door, and Rebbetzin Palei knocks on the door. Says, hello, how are you? And she's waiting ready for the yelling, complaining, whatever. And she tells her, I understand that construction comes with a lot of stress. Not easy for your kids, not easy for your family. I want to make a suggestion. Baruch Hashem, my kids are all married, have a big apartment downstairs. Why don't your kids, when they come home from school, come down to me to play? Have a very nice couple of big rooms, let them play. Have nice toys for my grandchildren. Let them come downstairs. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Then she tells her, maybe you want to rest in a clean room one afternoon, come down to me too. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. This is a Maisa Shahoya, but this is Ahavas Yisroel. When you see somebody in tsar, betzara, go there, make them feel at ease, make it easier for them. Take away their daigas and their worries and make them feel comfortable. This is real Ahavas Yisroel. So we have to think now, in the 3 weeks, how could we better ourselves in the mitzvah of Ahavas Yisroel? How could we do better? I want to share with you another mitzvah. Beautiful story. A father had a son. He's going to be bar mitzvah in Parshas Yisroel. He went over to the Gabbai in Shul, and he tells him, "Dear Gabbai, I want to reserve Parshas Yisroel for my son to be the Bal Koira, the bar mitzvah bach. We want him to learn the Parshas Yisroel." The Gabbai said, "Okay." It was very early in the year. The Gabbai, the Shabbos, forgot that he gave away the Shabbos for this bar mitzvah bacher. And now the Yid came over and asked for the same parsha for learning, for Parshas Yisroel. And all of a sudden, the Gabbai realized that this is a situation, not an easy one. He gave both the Kriya of Parshas Yisroel, and now what are we doing? How do we handle this? He went over to both fathers, he called them both, and he told them the situation. He said, "I made a mistake. First I promised to Ruvain that his son is going to learn Parshas Yisroel. Then I promised you the second one. Now what do I do?" The first father, from the first child that had Din Kedima, said, "I'm a vater. My son is going to learn Parshas Mishpatim instead. No problem. My son could learn the next Parsha." And alles was Shalom v'Shalva Amachaya. Fast forward 4 years later, the mother of the first boy that was mevater in Parshas Yisroel, that learned Parshas Mishpatim, became ill and she was hospitalized. In the same time was one of Doilei or Rosh Yeshivas in the same hospital, which was also very ill, and they brought in a big professor, big Rosh Yeshiva with connections. They brought in a big professor from the States to heal the Rosh Yeshiva. And then they needed a Bal Koira, it was Parshas Mishpatim. And this Bachel was already 4 years later, he was 17, hanging around the hospital. They asked him if he knows of a Bal Koira. He says, "Mishpatim, that's my Bar Mitzvah Parsha. I was supposed to learn Yisra, but I know Mishpatim." And he was learning Parshas Mishpatim. After learning the Parsha, the Rosh Yeshiva called him over and said, "What brings you here in the hospital?" So he said, "My mother is here. She's not doing well. They're treating her, but they can't find a treatment for a sickness. Whatever they're doing is not working." So the Rosh Yeshiva asked the big professor from the States that came in special for him, and he sent him in to look after this woman, the mother of this boy. And he found that they were mistreating her, and he gave the right treatment, and she was healed. This is a ma'aseh that happens from being a mevater, from real Ahavas Yisroel. But this is not stam saying, "I'm a mevater." A bocher worked months. You know how long it takes to prepare a parsha, the kriya. Not an easy thing. But this bocher was mevater, and look what he got back, a refuah for his mother. I want to share with you another mice. We all know of the Baba Sali. This story was said by the Mashbak, the Gabbai, Rebbe Khil Dahan, the Baba Salih's Gabbai. There was a neighbor of the Baba Salih in Netivot. His name was Rabbi Ish Amar, Sephardi Shiit. When he was very young, he had terrible pain in his feet. All the treatments, all the medications, all the medicine he took did not help. There was days that Rabbi Ish could not go out from his house. That's how much pain he had. And the Baba Sali heard about the pain of his neighbor. He told this Gabbai, Rebbe Khal, please do me a favor. Go to our neighbor, Rebbe Ish, and call him over to my house. Came over, and he asked him to show him exactly where it's hurting him on his foot. Rebbe Ish took off his shoe, untied his shoelaces, and he showed the wound that he had in his foot for Baba Sali. Baba Sali touched very, very softly on the spot where the wound was. And he screamed from pain. He hardly touched him, and he screamed. And the Baba Sali said, he promised him, B'schus avotai hagdoshim, is the merit of my parents and my rebbes, I'm wishing you a refuah shalem, a quick recovery. And Rabbi Ish went home with hope, with emunah shlema, that the blessing of the Baba Sali is going to help. We will be nice at Paris. And a couple of days later, and the pain went away, and the foot was healed 100%. The Mashbak, Rebbe Khal, noticed the next day that the Baba Sali has a wound on his foot on the same spot where the neighbor had yesterday, a couple of days ago. He went over to Baba Sali and said, what's going on? You were fine. How come all of a sudden you have a wound on your foot? What's going on? Baba Sali told him, when I saw my neighbor suffering so much in pain, I asked the Rebbeinu Shalom, I wanted to be mispalel, but I said, how could it be mispalel for the Rebbeinu Shalom? To the Rebbeinu Shalom when I don't feel the pain of my neighbor? How could I be mispalel the right way? So I asked the Rebbeinu Shalom that the wound from my neighbor should come over to me, to my foot. And when I felt the pain, that's when I was mispalel on my neighbor, and his pain went away. This means real Ahavas Yisroel. You know, helping other Yidden in the heart, having compassion is easy. Putting in your hand in your pocket when somebody needs money is not so easy. There's a saying, it's very nice friendship, be great friends, but till the pocket. Anybody have the expression before? Be great friends till the pocket. Why is that? I saw one of the Goinim explains that the Oisis Tzedakah is Tzadik Dalet Kuf Hey. Tzadik and Kuf are neighbors, right? In the Aleph base. Dalet and Hey are also neighbors. But when the other person needs tzedakah, all of a sudden the tzaddik is next to the dalet and the kuf is next to the hay. They don't see each other anymore. Comes to the pocket, the friendship disappears. How do we get this to do l'maisa? The Tzanzer Rav once asked somebody, someone asked you a question. If you find a wallet with money in it, $500, 500 rubles, cash, and there is a siman, there is a sign who to give it back to. What would you do? He said, what do you mean? I give it back to the Bailim. The halacha says so, you have to give it back. So the Divrei Chaim says, you're a Tamim. No problem. You're an Elachid, Gesundheit. Then he asked the second person, what would you do? The Rebbeinu Shalom sends me in my direction $500. I should go give it away? Hashem sent it to me. There's a reason why I found it. The Tzanzer Rav says, you're a Russia. Go away. Then came the third person. Asked him, what would you do? He said, what would I do? He says, how could I answer such a difficult question? Do I know now what madrega I'll be then? If I'll be able to be Mekayim the mitzvah of Shavas Aveda or not, I can't answer right now. How could I answer? I could be mispalel that when the time will come, I should have the richtige das and do the right thing. But how could I answer now? That Tzanzer Rav said, this guy answered the right way. Ahavas Yisroel When it's not the Geil L'Maisa, it's very easy. But when we have to do Ahavas L'Maisa, Ahavas Yisroel, it's not so simple. The Moshe Leib Sasever said he used to go around every morning after davening to all the Yisoimim and Yisoimos in the village and make sure that they have what they need. They have food, they have what to drink, and he wished them all a nice day and a good morning. He washed them, he brushed their hair, he dressed them, he took care of them. All the Yisoimim and Yisoimas in the shtetl. When he saw children, Nachman al-Tzlan, with pimples, with leiches, I don't want to even say that word, with blood, he used to wash it, to take care of it with his own hands. They asked him, how, you're not repulsed to do that? How could you do this? Touch somebody else's wound? How could you do this? Hat kedei kach is the mitzvah, they asked him. And Moshe Leib Sasever responded, he said, not only this, he said, a person that was repulsed to suck the blood from an Yosem, from another child, from another Yid, didn't come to the Madrega, not even the half was meant Ahavas Yisroel. A person never is repulsed from his own body. If a person feels he can't touch another person's wound, he has no Ahavas Yisroel. Especially for Yisoimim and Yisoimos. This is how far Ahavas Yisroel has to go. There was a Hershel Kopshitz in Tovreish Pei Dalet. There came a kvutza of Talmidim from Slabodka to Eretz Yisrael, and they went to Hebron. The Alter from Slabodka was there, Nosson Tzvi Finkel, and the instructions, the excitement of Reb Tzvi Kopshitz, the first night when they got there, he was dancing in the dorm all night. They asked him, why are you so happy, Reb Tzvi? Why are you so happy? He said, why am I happy? He said, there's a mitzvah of Ahavto l'reacha kamoicha. So they said, I don't understand, the Chutzor, he didn't have the mitzvah. Chutzor is also a mitzvah of Ahavto l'reacha kamoicha. Why are you so happy? What does Yitzroel have to do with Ahavto l'reacha kamoicha? He said, I am a Kohen. In Chutz La'aretz, the only duchen are Yom Tovim. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Over here, we're going to duchen every day. I'm going to have the schus, the mitzvah, to be Mekayim, v'tzivonu levarech as Amo Yisroel be'ahava, to do a mitzvah be'ahava. This mitzvah I couldn't do in Chutz La'aretz. That's why I'm so happy and excited being in Eretz Yisrael. The Chazon Ish once asked a couple of good Bachrim, Metzuyanim, he asked them to please take out time from their learning and learn with the new Talmidim that just came in this month. The new younger Bachrim. They excused themselves to the Chazon Ish and said, if we're going to learn with these new boys, it's going to bring down our level of learning. It's going to bring us down. How could we do that? The time is very mitzumtzim. How could we do this? The Chazon Ish said, tefillin you put on, you have time to put on tefillin. For that you do have time. They got the message. And the next morning, they arranged that all the older Bachim started learning with the younger Bachim. Ahavas Yisroel means giving away from yourself. I will end with one more story. It was a Talmud in Slabodka, learned by Rabbi Isaac Sher. Rabbi Isaac was known to be a mechanech, a tzaddik, a smart, very clever, wise Yid. A Bacher came to ask him, have a shayla, have a problem. Have a gewaltige taiva, gewaltige desire to speak Lashon Hara. Give me an eitzah. I have a gewaltige taiva to speak Lashon Hara. And especially stories that nobody knows yet. I really have a taiva to say those unbelievable Lashon Haras. So Yeshiva told him, 2 weeks ago, your father came to the yeshiva to speak to me and checking up how you doing. He made a gewaltige nice impression on me. Very nice man. A genuine good person. I want to ask you a question. Do you have a taiva to speak a lashon hara on your father? On my father? Of course not. How would I speak? Not only that, someone who speaks lashon hara on my father, I wouldn't sleep all night. It would bother me if somebody said something bad on my father. Why? Why don't you have a taiva to speak on your father? She asked him. He said, my father? I love him. And when you love somebody, you have no taiva to talk. So the Rabbi Isaac told him, so you gave me the eitzah. Love the other yid, so you won't have a taiva to talk. Let's be makabel on ourselves. Not to look at labels. No party lines. Accept and respect every yid. The same way, mandaloch sani, lechavich lo yisayved. To love somebody else like you is not easy. But not to do to somebody else, but you don't want to be done to you, that's much easier. And if you're going to act that way, as we started off, kol merachem al abriyos, merachem olav, that brings the Yeshua for the other person, that brings the Yeshuas for you, the Boyin Shem is helfen, that the Besamigdash shall geboit werden, bimheira biyameinu, amen. Chanani ben Akash.
Shem Egenshir Termas is posting. I'd like to give a big yesher koyach to Ahavas Eisen for the very inspiring drasha. I'd like to give a big yesher koyach to Mr. and Mrs. Ari Panis for sponsoring tonight's shir. We'd like to give a big yesher koyach to David Weiss, CPA 718-871-8502 for support towards tonight's shir. Rabbi say you can help the Ahavas Yisroel by sponsoring Egenshir Torah and help bringing this chizuk for Ahavas Yisroel to the tzibur at large and spread it, the Dvar Hashem further. Call Egenshir Torah 718-851-8651 or email tapecenter@yeshivanet.com. CDs of tonight's show will be available shortly. Chananya ben Akash Shem Tzakadosh Baruch Hu L'Zakis Yisrael Figure Hibram Torah Mitzvah Shenem Adonai Chofes Aman Tzidke Yagdul Torah